It's your boy, Rob Kowalski, quickly becoming known as the Christian Polygamy Guy, back with another video, and this video is entitled 5 Reasons Why Christian Men Should Pursue Polygamy. Yep, this is going to be a doozy, so stay with me. Alright, before we get into it, I need to tell you that I am a committed Christian. I am a Jesus follower, my life is completely surrendered to Him, and I would not do anything that I didn't believe that God was okay with. To all my fellow Christians out there, let me just tell you this. The Bible has no ban on polygyny. Now, I'm going to be using the term polygyny and not polygamy because polygyny is the technical term for a man having multiple wives. But seriously, take a moment to think about that. The Bible explicitly forbids all kinds of things and has punishments for each infraction, but polygyny ain't one of them. No punishments, no condemnation, not even a negative word about it, nada. So let's put to rest this idea that it was some Old Testament thing that God just allowed because of war or wanting to populate the earth thing. The whole house of Israel, our spiritual ancestors, came from a man with 4 wives. And let's also be real with ourselves. The divorce rate, even amongst Christians, is sky high, up to 50%. So don't tell me that monogamy is some magic fix. It's time to rethink our approach. Our current setup is far from perfect. For more on this, go check out episode 88 of the Kowalski Analysis podcast entitled Investigating Polygamy, A Biblical Perspective. Before we start, make sure that you're following me on Instagram. My username is @RobBKowalski. I post daily motivation and updates on what's going on with my life. Now let's get started. Reason number 1, scarcity of virtuous women. The wisest man who ever lived, King Solomon, he said this in Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Now why would he say that? Because virtuous women are scarce. Think about it. Finding a virtuous woman in today's society is like finding a needle in a haystack. It's like finding a diamond in a sea of cubic zirconias. Seriously, have you seen what's out there lately? So hold up, Pastor. You're telling me I get one chance at this. I get one golden ticket, and I'm going to give it away to a woman that's been dating around and possibly sleeping with several men before me, and then I got to come along and pony up? That doesn't sound realistic. That's not even fair. So listen up, man. Answer this question honestly. Would you marry a woman with a past if she was one of 3 of your wives and not your one and only? I think the answer is an obvious yes. Polygyny offers a realistic way to clean up the dating cesspool that we find ourselves in. Reason number 2, supporting and protecting women. Right now, there's a major imbalance in the numbers game when it comes to marriageable women to men. Just in the United States church alone, there are 20 million more women than there are men. That's a whole lot of ladies who need a covering and they need someone to look out for them. But what do? We put them in an impossible situation. We tell them, we'll pray for you, but then we basically assign them to a life of fornication, marrying a pagan, or spending a lifetime alone and becoming the cat lady in the process. Not ideal. When you think about it, one of the first commandments God gave us was to be fruitful and multiply. Later, He commands us not to be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So which of these 2 commands do you suggest that women break to uphold some tradition in monogamy that ain't even in the Bible? Polygyny can fix that gender gap and start to balance out some of those numbers. Plus, it's just plain smart. Not only financially, but then women can share housework and child rearing, and it just makes life easier for everyone involved. Reason number 3, embracing natural desires. Check it, fam. Polygyny ain't about ignoring our natural desires. It's about recognizing and respecting them. Attraction and companionship are part of who we are as humans. Have you ever wondered why a woman's biological clock stops at 35 to 40 years of age when she hits menopause, but men can make babies until we're basically fossils? God set that whole system up, and it begs the question, why would God do that? Let's face it, older men are never going to stop being attracted to younger women, and younger women are never going to stop being attracted to older men. It's biology, plain and simple. By embracing polygyny, Christian men can stay true to their natural inclinations and stay true to their faith-based values. Have you noticed how many young men today are converting to Islam? It's partially because they see polygyny as a way to fulfill their desires, flex some social status, and feel good about themselves without being told they're pieces of shit for doing it. But it's not just about the fellas. Polygyny also embraces the natural desires of women too. Follow me. See, women are hypergamous. They want to date up and they want to marry up. But with more women getting educated and earning like never before in history, it creates slim pickings out there for the women. It's like a game of musical chairs, and it creates a buyer's market for the men. Ironically, biblical polygyny would actually increase a woman's value because there would be more brides and less single women on the market, incentivizing men to marry younger before all the good ones get taken. Right now, outside of wanting to be obedient to God, there's almost no incentive for men to get married. Polygyny changes that. In addition, it lets women marry the top-tier men instead of settling for the scraps. Many women would rather share a good, godly alpha man than have a beta man all to themselves. And when you look at the fact that 80% of the single women right now are sleeping with the top 20% of the men, that proves to you that what I just said is true. Reason number 4, expansion of the family and community. Remember that be fruitful and multiply command? God meant that, and it was one of His first commandments. Now, a woman can give birth once a year, but a man can literally make hundreds of babies a year under polygyny if he went on the spree. Again, God gave man that ability. Why would God do that? Plus, polygyny ensures kids inherit quality genes because more women are mating with the alphas. The Bible says children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb, a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed are those who fill their quiver with them. So the Bible teaches that having a lot of kids is a good thing. And the biological family is the #1 tool to produce and raise disciples to take over the world and populate heaven. But the devil has blinded us into thinking that a man can't take more than one wife. And let me tell you, that lie leads to all kinds of problems. Wives become hard-hearted, rebellious, disrespectful, and the men, if they don't end up cheating and ruining everything, they stay in the relationship and their kids grow up seeing them weak and powerless, and then the cycle continues throughout the generations. It's a vicious cycle, but polygyny, it breaks that power dynamic and it allows parents to raise good, godly children. You see, patriarchy without polygyny, it is possible, but polygyny without patriarchy, now that's impossible. So polygyny is about expanding your family, but it's also about building strong communities and raising generations of warriors for God. Reason number 5, FOMO. Many men fear getting married young because they haven't hit their sexual marketplace value peak. As they get older and they start earning more, their value is going to rise and they don't ever feel like they settle later. They also don't want to fornicate because they've been told that's a sin, and they're not wrong there either. But they're young and their hormones are raging. So what's a young man to do? Because they've been falsely taught that monogamy is the only marriage structure acceptable to God, what they do instead is they go out and fornicate and feel guilty about it. They sleep around and break women's hearts, and it makes it harder for those same women to pair bond later in life when they do get married. Remember, 80 to 90% of the divorces are being filed by women right now. That is a pair bonding problem, and it's a direct result of the false doctrine of monogamy only. With polygyny, marriage becomes more attractive to men. If a man knows before marrying that he can marry another later in life if he so chooses, that's a game changer. Men are unlikely to surrender their single opportunity if they think there's a chance that they might find a woman they find more desirable down the road. So instead, they hang on to it, and they repeat an endless cycle of sinning and repenting, or they just abandon the whole thing out of guilt. Again, God made provisions for all this, and the provision was a man has the ability to go out and marry more than one woman if he so chooses. So that's it. Those are my 5 reasons why Christian men should pursue polygamy. I hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave your comment with your biggest takeaway. I also have a coaching program where I help men who believe in plural marriage find their first wife with the potential to take more down the road if they so choose, and that woman can't divorce them because that's the agreement. So if you need some help, if you need some coaching, then we can jump on a free consultation call. I'd love to talk to you. In conclusion, even mainstream Christians will tell you that polygyny was used in ancient times as a way to restore fathers, provide for mothers, and raise children. So if anyone tells you that this was right back then, ask them again why we don't need this now. So fellas, it's time to break free from the lies and embrace the truth. And it's time to step up and claim what's rightfully ours. I'll see you on the next video.